Hey everybody, coming to you from Oracle Park, where the Giants lost 6 straight games on this homestand. First time since 1896, not 1996, 1896, that they played a 6 game homestand and lost all 6 games. 3 of those were to the Boston Bean Eaters. That is how far back this goes. Beyond that, it looked worse almost than that at times. Tuesday's game was one of the ugliest in recent Giants memory. Just in general, really rough for the offense. Um, a lot of issues over the last 6 games. And that leads to Wednesday, July 30th. Damn, speaking to you, day before the trade deadline. Tyler Rogers, the longest tenured reliever on this team. He and Logan Webb and Mike Yastrzemski, the only guys that go back to Bruce Bochy's final year. He is a New York Met now. The Giants traded him early in Wednesday's game. Tyler, he always walks to the bullpen with Ryan Walker in the 3rd inning. They were sitting in the clubhouse, and he told Ryan, I packed a little heavy for this trip. You just never know what's going to happen. The Giants are flying on Wednesday afternoon to New York. And right after that, Ryan said, literally a few seconds later, he gets a tap and says, into the back office, was informed that he has been traded. Tyler was traded on the same day as Taylor Rogers, which is impossible. But everything those guys do is impossible. It just adds kind of to the legacy of those twins and how interesting their careers have been together. Sounds like Taylor might get traded a second time, so a busy week for that family. But a day that I think the Giants hoped wouldn't come, but ultimately, I had heard after Tuesday's game they started informing teams that Tyler was available, that they were more willing to listen on him, and that Camilo Doval was available, and they would listen on others. And this is a result. It looks here. It's about 6 o'clock on Wednesday. We'll see where this all goes, and I'll post a little bit more just as the deadline goes and recap some of what happens the next 24 hours, 48 hours, and see what all happens for the Giants and teams around the division and who they end up getting, who they trade. I'll do all that. But just here on Wednesday, it looks like this is the start of a sale, and that Camilo, who pitched very well today, might be next. I think he's a little wary that might be coming. You go back to the offseason, he was in trade rumors then. So certainly you see the prices on some of the relievers today. I think that would encourage the Giants to be even more aggressive. And if you're going to do that, if you trade your closer, you trade your trusted 8th inning guy, you might as well go all in with it and just see how much you can get. Mike Yastrzemski, a pending free agent. Wilmer Flores, the same. Justin Verlander has pitched well the last couple of weeks. To get something for him, if they want to go crazy, Robbie Ray, a year and a half left on his deal, they would get a lot for him. They didn't trade Blake Snell. They didn't trade Carlos Rodon. But here they are, the result of dropping 12 of 14, really being the worst team in baseball since they made the big trade for Rafael Devers. It is kind of absolutely stunning the way this has happened and the way this has happened the last couple of weeks and how quickly this has happened the last week. But we were in the clubhouse. It was quiet. Everyone was there looking at their phones. We talked to the team leaders, and Logan Webb and Matt Chapman said the same thing. They said, we did this to ourselves. We really left Buster with no choice but to head in this direction. And that started with Tyler Rogers. I think if you're a Giants fan, the good news here is they seem to do really well. I mean, that is the consensus. I've talked to some scouts today who think they did well. That was the consensus from New York writers as well, that getting Blade Tidwell, not Blake, Blade Tidwell. He was their Mets number 10 prospect. He's a right-hander, 24 years old. He has debuted already. He's on the 40-man roster. He is someone who could start games for the Giants, I think, pretty soon. He is starting in AAA for the Mets. Wouldn't be surprised to see him pretty quickly for the Giants. They get Drew Gilbert, who is the Mets number 12 prospect. Was in the futures game a few years ago, former top 100 guy, 785 OPS in AAA overall. He's been really good in July, had a really strong month here. And he's been a center fielder, but I think especially if Yastrzemski gets dealt, I think especially a guy that they could look at in right field. But some outfield help, and they have looked the last few weeks, the last couple of months, like they need that. So it seems like they did well. And then Jose Buto is the big leaguer here. Giants saw him over the weekend. He looked good. They've made a lot of relievers look good recently, but still somebody who had a really nice year last year and has done a nice job this year as well. 2.5 ERA last year for the Mets. A little versatile, mid-90s fastball. He showed a good slider over the weekend when the Giants saw him here at Oracle Park. I think he figures to slide into the late innings for them right away. We'll see. I mean, he could be the 8th inning guy if Randy Rodriguez is the closer and they really make some moves here. So we'll see where that goes. Just wanted to quickly say about Rogers, kind of a lightning rod player. I always compared him to Brandon Belt, that there were some people who just never got over Belt's body language, or some people who never got over Tyler Rogers and the fact that he throws 70s, 80s, throws submarine. Occasionally he'd give up 3-4 weak singles and give up a run, but really was excellent for the Giants for 7 years. Led the National League in appearances 3 times. He looks like he is going to do it again. He's on pace to do it again this year, although maybe the Mets can ease up a little bit because they look like they're headed for the postseason. Drafted in 2013. I think the coolest thing about his story, I mean, he spent parts of 4 seasons in AAA. So credit to him. I never gave up. Always felt like he should be here. Always felt like he would get big league hitters out. I remember first couple weeks he's here, we're all going, okay, but Tyler, what's going to happen when the league sees you a few times? Hasn't mattered. Dodgers have seen him a bunch. The Padres have seen him a bunch. Of Diamondbacks, he's still getting those guys, and was really better than ever this year. 1.80 ERA in his final 4 months for the Giants. 2.79 overall as a Giant. I do want to give credit to the previous staff. I think Gabe Kapler and those guys, Andrew Bailey, Brian Bannister, and JP Martinez, who's still here. I think they really unleashed something and really trusted him more than maybe the prior front office and coaching staff had, and put him in a really good spot, and he responded. He's a New York Met now, part of a absolutely loaded bullpen. They trade for Ryan Helsley after making the Rogers deal. They already have Edwin Diaz at the back end. So that team is going places, and hopefully Mets fans enjoy that. If you're a Mets fan watching this, you will. There are some maddening appearances because every once in a while he just gives up a lot of contact, but you will enjoy Tyler Rogers. He was a very good Giant, and I don't know that I'd close the door on this. He's going to be a free agent at the end of the year. This was one where I felt like if you're going to make that trade, you can give him a call in the offseason and say, you were here a long time. You like being here. Your family like being here. You're still close friends with Logan Webb and some other people in this clubhouse. Let's give you a nice deal, bring you on back. We know how reliable he was, and he's someone who should age well because it's not like he's throwing 97. What does this mean moving forward? I talked a little bit about some of those guys who might be available. Camilo's the big one, I think, in the next day and a half as they try to figure out what to do and what they might be able to get for him. I've heard they set the bar high, as they should, and people have been clearing that bar for other relievers. So I think that might happen here. There's some interest in Joey Lucchesi all of a sudden. He's pitched very well over the last month. I know some teams have asked about him. But just in general, I think at this point, if you are not signed for next year, or even if you are, this is potentially a time for the Giants to really take a step back. They never rebuilt. Farhan never rebuilt. Before that, they never rebuilt. I remember going back to 2013. They could have traded Javi Lopez, Hunter Pence, Tim Lincecum, Brian Sabean held them all, said, I think these guys will be part of a 2014 title team. He was correct. They don't rebuild here at Oracle Park, but it does seem like, given the way they have played the last couple of weeks, given the way they have played since trading for Devers, this might be the first time to really take a step back and say, let's get some prospects in here. Let's take a look at these guys we got in these deals. Let's call Bryce Eldridge up maybe in the second half, give him a look here, see how that looks. Give Carson Whisenhunt more of an opportunity, get Hayden Birdsong back at some point, see if he's fixing. So maybe that's where this is all headed over the next 22 hours, however long this takes, or however long happens over the next day. But this is certainly, I think, a signal to the clubhouse. They understood that. I'll leave you with this. There was some optimism in the clubhouse. I think Matt Chapman put it best when we asked him about what's next. He said, I don't know what to expect. He did not know. I think the front office kept this one closed, but he said, I don't know what to expect. But when you trade one of your best arms in the bullpen, I think that kind of shows where we're headed.